Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Claude White, and this is a very special Pittsburgh Steeler report. Obviously, the Pittsburgh Steelers did not make the playoffs despite a win over the Cincinnati Bengals, with the Baltimore Ravens shutting down the Cleveland Browns in their last gasp effort in the fourth quarter. That means Baltimore goes to the playoffs as the number 4 seed and the winner of the AFC North. The Steelers had a lackluster season, winning only 9 games compared to 6 losses and 1 tie. And of course, the big thing coming out of the final game of the season was Antonio Brown, as it turns out, was held out not due to a knee injury, but due to an altercation with quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. Now, if you've been following me and following the Steelers this season, you already know, as far as I was concerned, that the Steelers were a team in trouble when they chose not to re-sign one Le'Veon Bell, who, in my opinion, was the Steelers' most important player coming up to this season. And as far as I was concerned, if you're going to not re-sign the great Le'Veon Bell. I understand that James Conner did a very good job before he got hurt. I understand that Jalen Samuels in spots did look pretty well as a backup. But let's face it, both of those guys combined were not equal to the great Le'Veon Bell, who, when healthy, is the best the best running back in all of pro football. He just is. And I told you that Le'Veon Bell had played his last game as a Steeler after that disgusting playoff loss in Jacksonville. And it is funny looking back at that playoff game against the Jacksonville Jaguars when you look at the tale of both of those franchises. You look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, they didn't even make the playoffs. And in fact, in a rematch this past season, Big Ben played awful. And Big Ben almost lost that game. In fact, that game was actually a harbinger of things to come for the Pittsburgh Steelers when you look back at it. Now, we all know that the Steelers just missed making the playoffs. Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars, on the other hand, didn't even come close. But I digress, and I'm going to keep the focus on the Pittsburgh Steelers because A, this is a Pittsburgh Steelers report. B, that is my favorite team. And C, it is going to be intriguing to see what happens in the upcoming days. Now, later on today, Mike Tomlin is going to have an end-of-the-season press conference, and it will be interesting to see how he handles this Antonio Brown situation. But as we Steeler fans know, it goes much deeper than Antonio Brown. It goes much deeper than even the coach Mike Tomlin, and it goes deeper than Le'Veon Bell. Now, it actually starts way before that, okay? Now, coming into the end of this season, everybody knows that the 2 hardest working players on the Pittsburgh Steelers roster were Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. Actually, you have to put Antonio Brown first because he is the longer tenured Pittsburgh Steeler. Remember, Antonio Brown has been with the team since 2010 when they lost the Super Bowl to the Green Bay Packers. And I tell you what, you see what happened to Green Bay this year? So everybody who wants to jump on the Steelers talking about, oh, they're not unified, they're not this, they're not that. Hey, how did Aaron Rodgers look? Okay? He quit on his fucking team. If you want to say Antonio Brown quit on the Steelers, I don't think he quit on them, but it was a decision to keep him out of this last game. And that decision, I think, was made by the front office and not by Mike Tomlin. Now, I could make a case that Antonio Brown has done his best to undermine Mike Tomlin. He has definitely done that. Look what he did 2 years ago taping that playoff speech and going on Facebook. He was totally out of line doing that. Now, he's had other actions. I mean, throwing furniture out of a window in a hotel, that's as stupid as it gets. That's like a 15-year-old. That's something you do in college. Dumb motherfuckers do that in college at 17, 18 years old. Dummies do that. And it's sad because I like Antonio Brown as a player. Is he a diva? Well, guess what? 99.9% of these receivers are divas, period. Not everybody is Larry Fitzgerald. I get it. And Larry Fitzgerald, by the way, is one of my favorite players in all of pro football. But I don't expect him to carry himself like Lynn Swann or John Stallworth, the only two wide receivers who are ahead of Antonio Brown, in my opinion, as far as all-time great Steeler wide receivers. You want to make a case for Hines Ward? Absolutely. You know what? You want to put Hines Ward ahead of Antonio Brown? Be my special guest. You know what? I'll give you that. There are three receivers ahead of Antonio Brown. I'll put Hines Ward ahead of him. And you know why I'm going to put Hines Ward ahead of Antonio Brown? It's because Hines Ward was a leader on the team. Now, Antonio Brown does what he needs to do on the football field. He is a very good blocker. Obviously, he's the most precise route runner in the game. He has the best hands in the NFL. I get it. But see, Hines Ward was a leader on and off that field. He was a leader in that locker room, something that Antonio Brown has never been. But you know what? I'm not going to blame Antonio Brown. I'm going to put the blame where it lies. And see, the man who's getting a pass throughout all this, everybody is getting on Le'Veon Bell. He should have just signed. He didn't want to play with the Steelers anymore. He only looked out for Le'Veon Bell. Well, guess what? The Pittsburgh Steelers only looked out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. When you look at their front office and look at their management, and you know what? Save a little bit for Mike Tomlin too. Oh, we don't want hostages. We want volunteers. Hey, Mike, keep your mouth shut when it comes down to a player trying to take care of him and his family. He was way out of line. And I'm a Mike Tomlin supporter, but he was way out of line. In fact, it starts with that offensive line with Mike Pouncey and what's that clown? Foster. Those guys were totally out of line talking about Le'Veon Bell, him getting his money. If they were in the same predicament, they did the same damn thing as Le'Veon Bell. So those guys were totally out of order. And if I see Ramon Foster get another holding penalty, God damn it, I'm sick of him. Same with Pouncey. He's getting no long in the tooth. Time for him to go too. And it's sad because, in my opinion, the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line is the best in pro football. And in my opinion, they did not run the football enough. And that goes back to the number one culprit as to why the Pittsburgh Steelers season is down the crapper. And the guy who does not get enough blame when things go south, and you know where I'm going with this, ladies and gentlemen, it starts and ends with that damn quarterback, that rapist quarterback that we've been piggybacking for 15 fucking years. Big Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, I said it. That guy blames everybody for the Steelers losses. He takes absolutely none of the blame. I am sick of him. It is time to blow this thing up. It is. When we had the big three of Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown all together, we didn't win jack shit. Nothing. Not even a Super Bowl appearance. And now Bell is already out the door. Antonio Brown, you want me traded? Well, you know what? You talk about trade me and we'll find out. Why don't we take your sorry ass to Arizona? How you like that? Play with old Josh Rosen. And for everybody talking about Le'Veon Bell, I tell you what, how did David Johnson look last year, this past season, for Arizona? who people were saying, oh, David Johnson just getting Le'Veon Bell. He looked like shit this year. David Johnson, Jesus. He was bad. You want him? Let me trade Antonio Brown for that first round pick so we can turn that into something. In fact, you know what? Big Ben was crying when the Steelers drafted Mason Rudolph in the third round. You want to hear Ben cry again? You want to hear his great leadership? I tell you what, why don't we turn Antonio Brown into a first-round pick from Arizona and draft that kid from Ohio State and see how he likes that? Because it's time to get Big Ben's predecessor on the football field. He's done. He's toast. How bad did he look? Big Ben threw some of the dumbest interceptions I've ever seen. He threw away the goddamn season in Denver. How did he look then? I tell you what, the game that the Steelers won against New England, he damn near threw that game away. If it weren't for Joe Hayden, the Steelers would have fucked around and lost that. I'm sick of him. Big Ben has skated his whole career with this team. He has never held accountable for anything. Nothing. I'm sick of him. And then you got guys like Mark Madsen, who they're going to go as far as Big Ben. Oh, we need to fire Tomlin. He only won with Coach Cowher's players. Man, Bill Cowher, my God, Bill Cowher was almost a joke in Pittsburgh. How many times he lost the AFC Championship game in Pittsburgh, having the better damn team. He used to get waxed. Mike Tomlin's first losing season will be just that, his first losing season. Sick of guys like that. You can tell where he lies. He likes his Pittsburgh Steelers white and quiet. He wants the black Steelers to be quiet and say nothing. Can't stand him. Those are those fake Steeler fans who want to blame Tomlin for everything. And I understand Tomlin does deserve a lot of blame. Hell, he's the coach. He deserves a certain amount of blame. There's no question about it. But I tell you what, did Mike Tomlin miss those kicks? Was he slipping and sliding like Chris Boswell? Did he throw that ghastly pick in Denver? I understand the New Orleans game. I get it. That was a terrible call, in my opinion, by Mike Tomlin. But did he lose the game? Did he fumble that football? Oh, that was Juju. Did he make that bad call? That fake pass interference call against Joe Hayden? I think not. Those were some terrible calls. I understand that. Now, I'll tell you what, NFL referees, this has been their worst year by far. And that's saying a lot, because NFL refs stink. But they were dreadfully terrible this year. It's like the refereeing has gotten worse each and every year in this league. And they have more help than ever, and they still fuck it up. Excuse me, they still mess it up. My goodness. This team, it is time to blow it up for the Steelers. Now, I don't think Tomlin should leave, but if you want to say Mike Tomlin should go, well, here's my question to all you guys who want Mike Tomlin out of Pittsburgh. Who you going to get? You want Urban Meyer, the man who has the integrity of a tick? I don't want him. I want a fucking I want a college coach. You want Nick Saban to come out of Alabama? I don't think so. I'll tell you what. How did Nick Saban look in Miami? How'd that work out? You want him? Yeah, right. You want old Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma? Yeah, sure. Or maybe you want Mike McCarthy. Well, he didn't exactly look stellar in Green Bay, did he? You want him? No thanks. Stick with a guy who's won your chip, has dealt with the press, has dealt with all these players. In fact, give him an opportunity to have players that's not going to undermine him, like Big Ben and Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. In fact, better still, give him another 3 to 4 years. If he doesn't get it done then, by all means, show him the door. But to be fair, there are guys in that organization that are undermining this coach. There's no question about it. And that quarterback is at the top of the list. He takes no blame for anything that goes wrong. Well, I've earned the right to criticize AB. I've been in the league for 15 years. Whoop-de-doo! And he helped make you, trust me. They don't run the ball enough, and they have the offensive line to do it. David DeCastro is the best right guard in the NFL. He has surpassed Marshall Yanda. He has. And I'm not knocking Marshall Yanda. It's just Father Time is caught up. And it's caught up to Big Ben as well. Now, can Big Ben still play at a high level? Absolutely. But I'm sick of him. I mean, he has festered this me first culture that's gone on in Pittsburgh. Don't be fooled and thinking it's Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell only. Because trust me, Big Ben is all about Big Ben. He will throw anybody under the bus, including and especially his head coach. And as far as I'm concerned, he's the most culpable. By far. It's Ben number one. In fact, I'll even go as far as say Big Ben deserves half of the blame, Antonio Brown another 30%, and Mike Tomlin, I'm going to give him another 20%. In fact, nope, I'm going to save 10% for that dopey kicker, Chris Boswell. Nobody talks about, well, they gave him a fortune, and all of a sudden, he forgot how to kick. So let's put it in order. Big Ben, AB, dopey kicker, head coach. That's how it goes. You want to say the Le'Veon Bell distraction? That's all on the Pittsburgh Steelers front office. In fact, no, I'll take that back. That is 50% the front office and 50% the Steeler offensive line, that locker room chirping. Worried about the next man getting his instead of doing their job. If they were in the same position, they did the same thing that Le'Veon Bell did. Le'Veon Bell will probably end up either Green Bay, the Jets. Who knows? But we know he will not be in the Steeler uniform. And it looks like Antonio Brown is trying to go out the door as well. I would trade him to Arizona, get that Haskins kid from Ohio State, have him sit behind Big Ben. We already know that Big Ben is not going to be a mentor. You see how he's treated Mason Rudolph. In fact, if you want to go that route, I would see what I could get for Big Ben. Trade him to a quarterback-starved team. See if you can get a first or second round pick. If you can get a first round pick for Amari Cooper, I know you can get a first round pick for Antonio Brown, who's been the best receiver in football. Send him to Arizona for a first and a third round pick. I tell you what, let's see if the Giants would take Big Ben off your hands for a first or second round pick. He looks better than Eli, I tell you that. But then again, I don't know if Ben could stand that offensive line because that's the worst offensive line in pro football. Send Big Ben to Miami. See what you can get for him. He's already better than Tannehill, tell you that. In fact, I tell you what. Boy, I tell you, Minnesota looked like fools giving all that money to Kirk Cousins. How'd that work out? But Big Ben is better than Kirk Cousins. I'll give him that. Why don't you send Big Ben to Washington, see what you can get for him? I've had it with Big Ben. I'm sick of him. It is time to blow the whole thing up. Maybe we can get a top 10 pick for a change. The last time the Steelers had a top 10 pick was in the year 2000, and we had a pretty good wide receiver. His name was Plaxico Burress. Now, I would like for the Steelers to do a lot better this time around. In fact, the last time the Steelers had the very first pick in the draft, it was a quarterback from Louisiana Tech. His name was Terry Bradshaw, who, in my opinion, is still the best quarterback in Pittsburgh Steelers history. Oh, Terry Bradshaw, he threw almost as many touchdowns. He called his own plays. I understand he was dead wrong what he did to Mike Tomlin. But I tell you what, Terry Bradshaw wouldn't throw his teammates under the bus like that. You think he would say, well, Franco don't deserve his money? You think he'd do that? I think not, ladies and gentlemen. Please like and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. This was a very special Pittsburgh Steelers report. My name is Claude White. Please like, share, and subscribe. Take care, and God bless.